Hi Facebookers, happy Friday morning. It's Melanie Curry here coming to you from Chatham, Ontario, Canada. And this is the 30-day video challenge from Inspire Profit Network. The topic I'm supposed to talk about today is what I like to do on my weekends. However, I've been sitting on this topic since Tuesday. I was supposed to do it on Tuesday, but it felt weird to me to do a topic about my weekend so early in the week when the weekend had just finished. And one of the reasons I thought that was so weird was because most people who go to work every day, having just come off a weekend on a Tuesday, are probably not wanting to hear about the weekend already because they're, already missing the weekend that they just had. They're already anticipating the weekend coming up, and it just frustrates them to think that, the weekends are so far apart. So I sat on it for a while and thought about it. And then I thought to myself, well, my audience probably doesn't really care what I do on my weekends. What I love to do on my weekend is not necessarily what you guys love to do on your weekend. So why would you even really give a darn about what I do on the weekend? But having sat on it, it gave me some time to think. And I wanted to do this live about my weekend on a Friday so that maybe I could inspire some of you to use your weekends or your days off to live what you love. So here's the real situation. The majority of people work a job to earn income, and it's not necessarily something that they love. Okay, they go to work, they dread work on Sunday night, they start dreading work, and Monday morning wake up, and all week long they're thinking about the upcoming weekend and what they're going to do with their weekend, and how they're going to feel better on the weekend and do all kinds of fun things. However, I want to tell you a twist, a way you can twist it so that maybe on the weekends you can live your love and find a way to make some income doing what you love so that your weekends, so that every day feels like a weekend, because that's what happens for me. Every day feels like a Saturday for me. I wake up excited about what I have going on, excited to work on my business, excited to write some things and share some things, excited to learn because I'm living what I love. And it took me a long time to get to that place. But if you aren't living what you love, if you go to work every day and you're in a job that you don't like, that doesn't make you enough money, and makes you unhappy, then that's sad, but that's the reality that most people are living in. They can't give up their job because they need the income to pay their bills. And fair enough. And on the very rare occasion, there are people that I run across that absolutely love their job, and they work for a company that has a fabulous mission, and the company helps people or gives back to the community in some way, and that's great, and that's awesome. But it's really, really, really rare to find that. And most times in those situations, it might be a job that they love, but maybe because the job is in a community-based type business, maybe it's a not-for-profit, and maybe they aren't making the income that they need. But they're giving up their time to this business because they want to give back to the community in the way that the corporation is. So that's the reality for most people. It's very, very rare to be doing what you love. And even in the rare case that people do find what they love in a job, it might not be enough income for them to live the life of their dreams or live the lifestyle that they want. So I'm going to, at the end of the video today, I'm going to take you through an exercise, okay, to help you understand a little bit more about what you love and tell you some of the trappings of what happens in your brain when you start trying to think about what you love and move yourself towards that. So most people don't take enough time in their life to figure out what it is that they truly love and desire. You get, and I mentioned this before, you get trapped in the social structure of, we have to go to school, we have to get good grades, we have to go to a good college or university, we have to educate ourselves and get a good job, find a great partner, have children, own a home, retire. Wait a minute. In that big long list of things, where did we put find ourselves, know ourselves, learn for ourselves, love ourselves? Didn't hear that anywhere. So the reason I'm saying this is because most people don't take the time in their life, or aren't granted the time in their life, to truly analyze themselves and understand what it is that they truly desire from life. So, I read this book a while back. It's called Double Your Income, Doing What You Love, a Raymond Aaron's Guide to Power Mentoring. Okay, and I'm going to read a little bit from this book because light bulbs went off when I started to read this book. And I hope it will help some of you to understand how to get to spending your time doing more things that you love. So, first of all, what Raymond Aaron suggests is that you make an unedited and uncensored list of the things that you love. But here's what typically happens. If you were asked right now to make a list of your loves, you would first think of a love, maybe your dog. Everybody loves their dog, right? But then your inner censor would take over and it would scream in your ear, oh, better write my spouse down before I get into trouble. Again, just as you're about to write your spouse down, you think of your dearest lifelong friends and think, oh, I better write all them down so that they don't feel left out, to save you from a social blunder. Then you're worrying about other social blunders and other people's feelings, like your mom and your dad and your brother and your sister. But this is, most people, to read a quote from Oscar Wilde, most people are other people. Their thoughts are someone else's opinions. Their lives are a mimicry. Their passions are a quotation. So let's get ourselves out of that situation and really record a list of our loves. And not a socially correct list, not a politically proper list, just a list of our loves. And be ruthlessly honest with yourself when you're doing this, okay? I'd like you to get a pen and a paper, and we're going to go through this together for a few minutes, and hopefully it will help you to write your annual love letters and have something to review, periodically, to analyze for yourself whether or not you're living your loves. So, a question I'm going to ask: do you love reading? I love reading. But if you are a reader and you love reading, when was the last time you sat down to read a good book? Was it a year ago? Was it 5 years ago? Was it when you were in school? Was it last week? If you love reading and you're not reading, whose life are you living? Do you love to travel? When's the last time you traveled? Do you travel as much as you wish you could? Do you travel with, friends and family that you love? Do you travel by yourself? Do you find ways to travel locally so that you can enjoy that experience? Do you love your grandchildren? Do you see them as often as you wish? So see, I'm just trying to drive the point home more clearly that people often set aside what it is that they truly love to fit some model or mold that somebody else has set up for them. So Raymond Aaron tells a story here about a couple that the husband in the couple had been diligently looking for a job for months, and he had suddenly been offered 2 jobs at the same time, and they both wanted a quick answer back. Now, on weighing the pros and cons of each job, one job had him moving to a different city and, you know, had a better salary. The other one had a lower starting salary, but great benefits and more opportunity for advancement in the future. So on and on, the couple went back and forth about which job he should choose. But when they were asked on which grounds they were going to make their decision, they hadn't yet considered their most important criteria, what it is that they truly loved. Instead of looking at the characteristics of the job, Raymond asked them to look at what they really wanted out of life and out of work. So they were stunned at that, realization, stunned at that suggestion. But when they started looking at where they wanted to take their lives and look at the things that they loved and wanted to spend more time or energy on, it was very easy for them to pick one of the jobs. And they even realized that the other job that they didn't pick would have eventually led to frustration, and eventually the husband would have quit that job because he would have been unhappy. But since Raymond took them through that process and helped them to recognize their loves, they're able to make decisions much easier. And I want you to be able to make decisions much easier too. And maybe you can spend your days off or your weekends focusing on some of the things that you love, so that maybe you can steer yourself away from some of the things that you aren't loving, and find ways to make, a second income doing what you love, so that you're not completely reliant on the first income that is not what you love. So the exercise that we're going to do is called annual love letters. Okay, so they're love letters to yourself. It may seem a little strange at first to try and do this, but we have to do this. I'm going to read a quote from Dale Carnegie. It says, "One of the most tragic things I know about human nature is that all of us tend to put off living. We're all dreaming of some magical rose garden over the horizon instead of enjoying the roses that are blooming outside of our window today." So that's from Dale Carnegie. So I want us all to be able to enjoy the roses that are blooming outside of your window right now. There is a downside to going against your loves. There are consequences of going against your love. And those consequences are things like unhappiness, divorce, addiction, affairs, job losses, illnesses, and so on and so on. So let's go for what we love and avoid these negative consequences. I hope you have a pen and paper ready. And again, I want you to don't stop yourself from writing down your loves, okay? And try not to try to follow the Mel Robbins 5-second rule. Don't think about it too much. Just write it down. If it's something you love, write it down. You may get a few responses on your list that are a little bit silly, but you know what? We can analyze them each and figure it out. So to have an uncensored and unedited list of your loves, so that you have a clear written record of what is truly important to you in your life. That's purpose number 1. To realize what is missing from your life right now so that you can correct these deficiencies. That's purpose number 2. And purpose number 3 is to help you to prioritize your goals based on what you love, so that you move closer to what you love and further from what you do not love. Okay, so that's the threefold purpose that we're trying to accomplish today. So let's do it. Are you ready to make your list? So if you have a blank piece of paper and a pen in front of you, I want you to imagine that you have a friend in front of you or a mentor in front of you. Maybe there's 2 of you watching the video together, so you can do this with each other. If not, you can do it on your own, but you have to be really disciplined about just writing it down. So I'm going to do something that might be a little strange. And I want you to just write down the answers. What do you love? Write it down. What do you love? Write it down. Write down your replies. What do you love? Keep this up until you have 10 or 15 answers. What do you love? Keep writing them down until you have 10 or 15 of them. Now, once you have 10 or 15 answers, I want you to take some time and look at that list. Consider what you have just learned about yourself. I wrote down pancakes the first time I did it, and I don't even like pancakes. I just wrote it down because it popped into my head. So, of course, pancakes was one of the things that I took off my list. But maybe it was my brain triggering me that, I don't necessarily love pancakes, but I do love Sunday morning breakfast with my family. I do love having breakfast with my family. I love, the idea of brunch and skipping breakfast and eating a huge brunch. I love that. That's a great thing. So I made time in my life to be able to do that more often. So after a period of thinking about these things and being pensive and understanding a little bit more about yourself, take up your pen and record in another column or on another page the top 3 things on your list. Call them my loves. Draw a nice, pretty drawing around them. Maybe cut out some pictures from some magazines and put them alongside them. And then you're starting to vision. Right? It's called vision boarding. You're visioning the things that you love and you're analyzing each one. And now I want you to think about, now that you have your top 3, I want you to think about some strategies or some things that you can do to move yourself closer to those things that you love. The verbal part that we just did was just a memory jogger. It was just to trick your brain into thinking along those lines of those things that you love. So the next steps is to analyze your list of loves and start to strategize and plan how you can bring yourself closer to those loves. So if, for example, flowers or gardening is one of the things that you love. So how can I bring myself closer to flowers or gardening more often? I could actually put it in my plan or in my schedule to spend an hour or 2 gardening every week. I could start planning a trip to maybe a greenhouse or a similar type of place so that I can enjoy exotic flowers and plants for the day. So there's simple things that you can do to move yourself closer to what you love. And now that you have a list and you've figured out a little bit about those things that you love, maybe you can spend your days off and your weekends moving yourself closer towards those things that you love. And once you're started down the path of moving yourself closer to those things that you love, maybe one of those things is you're creative. Maybe one of those things is something that you love to do that can create an income for you. Often when you share your loves with the world, like it's a law, right? Do what you love and the money will follow. And it's absolutely true. If you're doing what you love, people will like you. If you're doing what you love, people will want to know you. And they will want to follow you. And they will want to understand how you got to be doing what it is that you love. And so then they will trust you. And when they trust you and they relate to you, then they are, willing to buy your services or invest in one of your pieces of art or be inspired by you. They open themselves up to you once they like, know, and trust you. So instead of talking about, what I plan to do this weekend in terms of like activities, etc., I plan to do this weekend some work on my love letters so that I can double my income doing what I love, which is, helping people and teaching people and learning new things. So those are some of the things I love. So I've created a business around that. And I would encourage you to do the same thing. Do what you love. The money will follow. Love what you're doing. You'll be much happier. If you have to stay in a job that you don't love, then find a way to put your love into that job so that you can make that money that you're earning at a job that you don't love work for you in an area that you do love. This has been Inspire Profit Network 30-day video challenge, day 17. What do you like to do with your weekends? I'm glad you all joined me here today. If you got any value out of this, like, comment, share it with your friends. Maybe put in your comment some of the things that you love and how you plan to get yourself closer to those things so that you can inspire others who are watching this post. Thank you very much. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. I have 18 more days of live videos to go for this challenge. And I plan on doing them every day from here on out. So they're going to come fast and furious. And I plan to put a helpful tip, lesson, or, gift, reward, or surprise in every video from here on out. So I look forward to you joining me. Please like, share, and comment, and move yourself towards the things that you love. Have a good afternoon, Facebookers, and an amazing weekend.